Yo, what is up YouTube? Back with another video. Today, I'm going to be ranking all 8 NFL divisions from 1 to 8 based on which I think is the best. So, there are 8 divisions in the league: the NFC East, the NFC North, the NFC West, NFC South, along with the AFC North, AFC East, AFC South, and AFC West. So, here's a picture of all 32 teams and all their divisions. Before you watch this video, go ahead and rank them yourselves, because we might have very similar or very different lists based on your opinion on some of these divisions. So I think it makes sense to start at number 8, and this may come to no surprise. I have the NFC East. As you may know, this team last season had 0 teams with a winning record. Their best and number 1 seed in that division, the Washington football team, had a 7-9 record. It may come to no surprise. This is number 8 on the list. I do expect this division to improve. You can only go up from an absolute horrible season from every team. Obviously, the Cowboys had no Dak Prescott. I expect them to have better record compared to last season. I do expect the Giants to also have a better record. Honestly, I do expect the Eagles to have one of the worst records in the NFL. And Washington football team, their defense is very good, but their offense is once again very bad. So maybe 6 or 7 wins. But this division is so bad. I've never seen one worse in my life. So yes, that's an easy number 8 pick on my list. So this is the thing. This is the part where it gets interesting. Every division has at least one really good team. So if I put a really good team, like a Super Bowl contender, I put their division at number 7, some of you are going to get mad. But you got to consider the rest of the teams in their division. You got to consider why this team has so many wins. It's because they play so many easy division rivals every year, which is why I have the NFC North at number 7. Yeah, so with that logic, obviously the Packers are the number 1 team in this division. But you got to wonder, obviously they're a really good team, but you got to wonder why they get so many wins every year. It's because the NFC North division rivals are absolute dog. The Lions are expected to go 0-16 probably. The Vikings, they're decent, but they missed the playoffs because their defense was horrible last year. I don't expect it to get better. And the Bears, they did make the playoffs, but like I just said, you got to consider, the whole division. I expect the Bears to get worse next season, and just maybe a game worse. Maybe the Bears go 7-9, maybe 8-8 again. But overall, I have this division at 7. Even if you think it's good, I do think every other division I haven't listed is better, and I'll explain why. So, at number 6, I do have the NFC South. So, this division, like I said, it has a Super Bowl winner in it, but that doesn't mean anything to me, because you got to consider why this team has so many wins. Obviously, the Buccaneers are something different, but the rest of the division is so bad. Obviously, the Falcons, 4-12. I think the Panthers went 5-11 or 6-10. So 2 really bad teams. The Saints, they're always a good team, always have a good record. But are they really? They never win playoff games, ever. It's embarrassing. And Drew Brees is gone. I expect this team to get a lot worse. This whole division is pretty bad except for the Buccaneers. That's why I have them at number 6. But I do have them at number 6 ahead of the NFC North, because I do expect the Saints to once again have a good season. I expect the Panthers to improve a little bit. Maybe the Falcons improve, but I do think it's better than the NFC North. But still, it's pretty bad. I do expect this team to have, at least 2 playoff teams, maybe only 1. Obviously, the Buccaneers and the Saints. So, at number 5, I have the AFC South. So, this division at number 5, it makes sense. It has two pretty good teams, the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts, both made the playoffs last year. But I do expect the Colts to struggle, maybe with Carson Wentz. We'll see. Maybe they have a godlike season, maybe they don't. I do expect the Colts to struggle just a little bit, which is why I have them at number 5. But like I said, you got to consider the whole division. The Jaguars went 1-15, and the Texans are tanking, trading away their best players. I'm not even sure if Deshaun Watson is going to suit up ever again in a Texans uniform. Texans could become the next 0-16 Cleveland Browns. That's why I have them at number 5. But at the same time, they do have two really, really good playoff teams, which is why it carries their ranking to number 5 ahead of the NFC South and the NFC North, and of course NFC East, but they're expected to be at number 8. So like I said, Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, two really good teams, which is why I have them at number 5. So, this is a little debatable, but at number 4, I think it's debatable to switch this with number 5. Like I said, I had the AFC South at number 5. It is very debatable. You probably could if you wanted to, but you could switch this with my number 4 pick, the AFC West. So I have the AFC West here, obviously because they have the Chiefs. The same logic is with the Packers Buccaneers, horrible division, but I do expect this division. I think this division has the most potential in the NFL. The Chiefs are just gonna win it every year though. Still, I think it has the most potential. Why do I say this? Well, let's start with the Raiders. They had a playoff, like team last year, but they didn't make it. I expect it to get better next season. Their defense was what let them down. Maybe it gets better, maybe it doesn't. We'll see. So that team's definitely a playoff team. The Broncos, they think they're a playoff team. They have, thought to be good players, but to make the playoffs because poor quarterback situation. We'll see if they draft a QB. So they have potential, and especially the Los Angeles Chargers. They have the most potential, I think, in the NFL to be a playoff team off of, a non-playoff team performance last season. Why do I say this? Because Justin Herbert is an absolute monster. This team started off pretty poorly and finished the season 7-9. Justin Herbert broke rookie QB records. I expect this team to, maybe make the playoffs next year. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. So I think all three of these teams, besides the Chiefs, have very good potential. And of course I have the Chiefs. So that's why I have this division at number 4. But it's at number 4 because there are better divisions, including number 3, the AFC East. So this is debatably switchable with number 4, but at the same time, you have the Bills. The Bills are insane. They're probably conference finals, AFC championship game material once again. They have the Dolphins that went 10-6, and they didn't even make the playoffs. That shows how good the AFC is, which is why I have most of their teams pretty high. But still, Dolphins are a playoff team. There you go. You also have the Patriots. Everyone's expecting this team to make the playoffs. They didn't last year, but they do have a really good shot. They signed a lot of players in the offseason at skill positions like tight end and wide receiver. So we'll see if they draft a QB in the draft or they stay with Cam Newton. But everyone's expecting this team to make the playoffs. I don't know, maybe they will, maybe they won't. And of course, you have the Jets, horrible team, but this team is going to show a lot of potential. I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not going to say they're going to have a winning record. But their new coach, former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, is actually insane. So I do expect this team, I'm not expecting it to be, good. I'm expecting it to be better than it was last year. I think every one of these teams in the AFC East has potential to win a lot of games. That's why I have them at number 3. But not number 2. Because at number 2, I have the NFC West. Yes, the NFC West. So many of you think that this is the best division in the NFL. And that is very debatable. Why do I say this? I think every one of these teams in the NFC West has the potential to make the playoffs. Obviously, the Rams, they made the playoffs last year, made it to the divisional round, and they traded for Matt Stafford. This team's going to be really good. The Seattle Seahawks, the thing about the Seattle Seahawks is they always make the playoffs, but they never win games because of, the poor performances by their offensive line. I mean, last year, I'm not going to say it happens every year, but last year especially, the offensive line was so bad. It was so easy to beat the Seahawks. That's why the Rams beat them. This team's probably going to make the playoffs again. Obviously, we have the Cardinals. They almost made the playoffs, but they didn't. I think they went 8-8. So, that team is definitely a playoff team's going to get better and better. And the 49ers. This team, it is a playoff team. 2 seasons ago, they were in the Super Bowl. Last year, they got destroyed by injuries. But the thing that worries me about this team is they lost their defensive coordinator, probably the best in the league at the time. And that is why, I think it devalues this division a little bit more than number 1. I don't think the 49ers are going to make the playoffs next season, but, I think they're going to have around 6 wins. But the rest 3 of these teams are going to have pretty good records. So, yes, I do think all of these teams have potential to make the playoffs. 49ers the least, Rams the most. But I do expect the AFC North at number 1 to have the best division in the NFL next season. So, I do believe they did have the best division last season. Obviously, they had 3 teams that made the playoffs and 3 teams with 11-plus wins, including the Steelers at 12, and the Ravens and Browns had 11-5 records. This division is actually insane. The only downside to this division is, the Bengals are horrible. No Joe Burrow. That team has potential in the future, but not next season. The reason why I have this division ranked above the NFC West is because I believe every team except the Bengals, including the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens, could easily beat every team in the NFC West, including the Seahawks, Rams, 49ers, Cardinals. I think the Rams would give some of these teams the work, but I just think the Steelers and the Ravens and the Browns are so good. This division is up to grabs. I don't expect any of these teams to get any worse. The Steelers might get even better with, if they draft a running back. The Ravens probably going to be good again. Browns going to get even better than they were last year. This division is scary. And, the thing is that, the Chiefs are probably going to make the Super Bowl again, but if they don't, I expect the winner of this division to be a Super Bowl contender, probably winner, or the second place to the Buccaneers again. But I do expect the AFC North to be the best in the NFL once again. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Comment down below your tier list 8 through 1. Obviously, you gotta have the NFC East at number 8. But I am very curious to see the rest of your things in order. I think this list is up to grabs. I think it is very changeable. And I think, you can do whatever you want, but please have the NFC East at number 8. That's it. Adios.